Hello. Yes. And welcome to our Objective 6.2 sample problems. Objective 6.2 says I can solve rational equations, and that, my friends, is what we are going to do today. Let's dive right in. So we want to solve these equations. Be sure to check for extraneous solutions. Let's start with letter A here. So right away, m plus 5 is my denominator. That means my excluded value m cannot equal negative 5. That m was super bold. I don't know why. There we go. M cannot equal negative 5. So m plus 5 is going to be my common denominator here. So I need to multiply this 1 by m plus 5 over m plus 5. When I do that, I will have 6 plus 2m plus 12 equals m plus 5, right? Because at that point I have the common denominator, so I can multiply them away, make my denominator disappear. That's a Home Alone reference for y'all. So we have 2m plus 18 equals m plus 5. Subtract the m from both sides, subtract 18 from both sides, I'll have m equals negative 13. Now that works with my excluded value, so m equals negative 13 is my solution. Very cool. All right, let's look at letter B here. So v squared plus 5v in my denominator. So that would be factored as v times v plus 5, so cannot equal 0. So that tells me v cannot equal 0 and v cannot equal negative 5. So I need to multiply this middle fraction by v over v. So I'll have 1 equals 5v plus 6. Subtract the 6, so I'll have negative 5 equals 5v. Divide by 5, and I find v equals negative 1. Well done. Well done. Hopefully we're seeing that once we have those common denominators, the denominators can divide out, right? Once we have those common denominators, we are good to go. Now looking at letter C here, my denominator will factor as n times n minus 6. Cannot be 0, so that's to say n cannot be 0, and let's see, n cannot be positive 6. Now this is going to be a fun one. So we have 2n minus 6 over n, and I'm going to need to multiply that one by n minus 6 over n minus 6. And that will equal n squared minus 6n over n squared minus 6n, right? Because it's 1 plus 4 over n squared minus 6n. So in order to solve this, we need to multiply out 2n minus 6 times n minus 6. And it'll equal n squared minus 6n plus 4. Okay, so when I do that multiplying out, I'd get 2n squared. 2n times negative 6 would be negative 12n minus another, so that'd be negative 18n. Negative 6 times negative 6 is positive 36. So that would equal n squared minus 6n plus 4. Subtract the n squared, that gives me n squared. Subtract the negative 6n, so that would be adding, right? Right? So if I subtract a negative, so add 6n to both sides, so that would be negative 12n. Subtract 4, that gives me 32 equals 0, right? Because I'm dealing with a quadratic when it said equal to 0. I can factor this, n minus 8 and n minus 4 equals 0, which is to say that n equals 8 or n equals 4. Now let's double check that with our excluded values. 0 and 6, 8 and 4, yep, that checks out. We are A-OK. Well done. Oh my gosh, look at the size of this one. Oh my lord. Okay. So, excluded values. Well, what's going to be my common denominator here? I'm going to need to multiply this one by 2 to get it. I'm going to multiply x squared by 6x plus 4. Okay, so I'm going to have 6x to the third plus 4x squared cannot equal 0. Factor that out. I can factor out a 2x squared, and I'd be left with 3x plus 2. cannot equal 0. So that's to say x cannot equal 0 from the 2x squared, and x cannot equal negative 2/3 from the 3x plus 2. All right, there's my excluded values. Now, getting all of these to have the common denominator is going to be an adventure, isn't it? All right, so x squared, I would need to multiply that by 6x plus 4, because this is going to be the common denominator that I'm going for here. 6x to the third plus 4x squared. So I'm going to need to multiply 1 times 6x plus 4 to give me my common denominator. I'm going to need to multiply, and I can go ahead and write this out here, plus 4. That's going to need to equal, let's see, I'm going to need to multiply 2 times 2 here, aren't I? 3x to the third plus 2x squared. That'll give me 6x to the third plus 4x squared. And then minus, and this one can stay the same, can it? X squared minus 3x minus 18 over 6x to the third plus 3x plus 4x squared. Sorry. 6x to the third plus 4x squared. Okay. So now that I have the common denominators, let's see what I have here. I have 6x plus 4 equals 4 minus, and remember we're subtracting this entire thing, so that negative needs to be distributed. So I have 6x plus 4 equals 4 minus x squared plus 3x plus 18. Oh boy, which will become 6x plus 4 equals 4 plus 18 is 22, so negative x squared plus 3x plus 22. So I'm going to move all of these over. So let's add x squared to both sides. Add x squared. I'm going to subtract 3x, and subtract 22. Subtract 22. And when I do that, I get x squared plus 3x minus 18 equals 0. Which, conveniently enough, I believe is factorable. All right, we can say x plus 6 and x minus 3 equals 0, which is to say that x equals negative 6 and x equals 3. Now let's check here. Does that work with my excluded value 0, negative 2/3? Absolutely it does. Fantastic. Well done, team. Okay, let's look down here at letter E. Oh boy. Okay, x squared minus 2x is x, wow, mobile, hostile, agile. Remember the Titans. We're spazzing out. I have no idea what's occurring here. I wasn't even writing over there. That's crazy. All right, so we have x times x minus 2 would be the factors of my common denominator. Now that can't be 0, so that means that x cannot be 0 and x cannot be 2. So I have 3 over x squared minus 2x plus, I'm going to need to multiply this one by x on the top and the bottom. So x times x plus 4 and x times x minus 2 equals, and then 1 is just x squared minus 2x over x squared minus 2x. Good work. So, common denominators, which means I just need to look at the numerators, distribute that x, it'd be x squared plus 4x, and it equals x squared minus 2x. So, let's see. Well, the x squares on both sides, subtract those, they'll go away. So I have 4x plus 3 equals negative 2x. Add 2x to both sides, subtract 3, so I'll get 6x equals negative 3. Divide by 6, that tells me x equals negative 1/2. Does that work with my excluded values? Yes, it does. Well done. Well done. All right, last one, letter F. Let's check it out here. 3x minus 12. Well, that's 3 times x minus 4 would be my common denominator. So that just tells me that x cannot be 4. Okay, so I need to multiply 3 times x minus 4 minus, so I need to multiply this fraction here by x minus 4, don't I? This middle fraction. And then equals 5 over 3 times x minus 4. So now that I've done that, have those denominators all the same. So I can say x minus 3 minus, now this all needs to be in parentheses because it's all being subtracted, x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 5, right? Just looking at my numerators. So I have x minus 3 minus x squared plus 2x plus 8 when I distribute those negatives equals 5. Let's set this, well, let's combine these like terms, huh? So I have negative x squared. X plus 2x would be 3x. Negative 3 plus 8 would be 5. That equals 5. Oh, check what's going to happen here. Or sorry, equals 5. 5 minus 5 is 0, so I'll be left with negative x squared plus 3x equals 0. And that is something I believe we can factor. If we take out well, it'd probably be easier just divide by negative 1 to start. So that'll turn into x squared minus 3x equals 0. Then we can factor out an x. And we find that x equals 0 or x equals 3. Does that work with my excluded values? The only excluded value we had was x cannot equal 4. We found that it equals 0 and 3. Therefore, we are all good to go. All right, and there we have it. There's some sample problems going through solving rational equations. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, let me know. We'll definitely get some practice in on these. Hopefully we're feeling good. If you have any questions, though, definitely let me know. This is Mr. Carter signing off. I'll see you next time.